Welcome, Classic Golf League fans, to this week's edition of the weekly tournament easy course tutorial with none other than Lean Into It and Sticky, legends of the game in their own right already, quality professional players and elite level competition, here to show you exactly what to do to try to do your best this week on the WMGT. Thanks for joining us today, guys. As you guys both know, I'm a huge fan of your work, and I'm looking forward to seeing this tutorial, see how we can possibly get a 30 under on this course if we're lucky.
All right, we'll try our best. Welcome to Fairyland. This is for an easy course, a quite complicated one. We enjoyed coming up with a couple shots that might serve most of our players, and then how to deal with the fallout if your tee shot is less than successful. All right, Sticky, what do you think?
Well said, Lean. Let's get to it.
Well, and we've got some numbers back from this course has been played once in the weekly so far, so I grabbed a couple stats for the first few holes just to see what kind of percentages that we're dealing with. This first hole was aced by 4% of players. And if you are among those who feel it's worth going for, then we'll show you the ace shot. Otherwise, there's no harm in just getting yourself a 2. And if you often find yourself kind of nervous at the beginning of tournaments, it's not a bad idea to secure yourself that birdie. Otherwise,
yeah, the ace line is going to be, right into this corner, and they've got
an approximate location.
Yeah, right where that black top stripe comes in here, you've got this nice little divot there. It is important that if you go for this, that you make it onto this slope. If you hit it here, you're likely to go into the turnstile, and that's a bad outcome. If you are going to go for this shot, you do need to hit it with a significant amount of pace and pop, right? That is the key to getting it to go in.
You want to try and land the ball about this far away from the wall here. How about you demonstrate shots while I point out some of the locations? So
yeah, we can try that.
Hanging about here. Just trying to land the ball here for its first bounce. And then you need to come off the back wall at this location.
Oops, that was way too hard. You'll notice that it's not going in a ton, right? It is a tricky shot, but the line is relatively safe as long as you hit it high enough.
I have noticed that overhitting the shot as well as not getting it up on the ramp can be detrimental because you guys, I think it can end up in here, up in this little area.
I think as long as you, if you're going to make a mistake on it, you want to underhit it probably, and you're going to get yourself a safe 2 at that point.
Well, let's move on. We've been toying with an alternative shot here. Of course, the one you'll see most players go for is this milk bottle shot. It's extremely consistent. It doesn't go in every single time on hole 2. But if you're sick of relying on the milk bottle because it's a little bit of a distant target, you can try the single bank off the side here. And if you can see that the pace and angle are a little more demanding, but a soft little shot will throw you right into the cup. You'll be aiming essentially for the beginning of this chip on the side of the wall right here. I've gone back and forth, and I think ultimately I'm going to be going back to the bottle. Just take your time. Don't let anyone rush you. Let your nerves settle in and go for it.
Yeah, nothing really to add on that one. Pretty straightforward.
Well, there's this now. Hole 3 offers a lot of complexity, not in the initial shot, but in what happens if you don't get into one of the goal targets. I think I'm probably aiming somewhere approximately towards the top of the blue, and if I'm a little too strong, I might get the ace. But there's some issues with the steepness of this curve here. Sometimes your ball can come off the angle. Sometimes we call it the pop glitch. You might find that if sometimes it doesn't follow the same smooth curve every time, and so the effect of there are some forces outside of your control that can affect your shot, which is why going for the red one can be slightly problematic. Well, we've done a little bit of research of what to do when your ball doesn't go in one of the two optimal spots. So we'll demonstrate a couple safe recovery shots. All right, so let's see, sticky, I think I'll ask you to perform the other option. But if you aim just in the front, towards the front here, a ball length or two off, you can find your way to the cup. I would probably practice this backup shot a little bit so that you might have that option available to you. You can see I'm still, it doesn't always end up in exactly the same spot over here, so it's hard to know exactly which bank shot's going to work.
That is the biggest challenge, is that you get different rollouts from these little chutes depending on your particular instance, which means it's harder to find a specific aim point that is reliable. I also like that double bank, especially if you've got a more favorable angle there. But yeah, that's a shot that spend a little time practicing, because you can make that and save a 2 if you end up over there.
Yeah, show them that wraparound from that side.
So there's 3 approaches I've seen over here if you come out of the yellow tube or yellow chute. The first one is to play it into this wall right here, which gives you an interesting angle around. We'll see how this one works out.
Back a bit, yep, and you have to hit that one quite hard.
And you know, that's the risk there.
It's a little bit more forward than the others. But
Now,
again,
the shot that
you can see
Yeah, go
our
ahead.
balls didn't wind up anywhere near the same spot there, so there's
The
no
shot that I have
precision.
been really doing in the event that I'm there is right up against this point right here, and that will give you a pretty favorable outcome most times. And I have made it from there, so it is possible that you can get that to go in. You can hit it a little bit harder than that too, and still have a good outcome. I've
I
seen
have trouble
some
even
people.
hitting it hard enough.
Yeah, it almost went in there, right? I've seen some people try this corner here, and while that can work, it is a lot more risky. So I think you've got just as good of a chance to make it with this point as you do with this corner. And then the other thing, if you hit this really hard and you miss to the other side, you're still in a good spot, right? So the risk of coming back to this bad corner is really mitigated. And I think that's the best way to kind of protect yourself on this hole.
Yeah.
Coconut safer.
And that's, the thing, right? You want to, let's make sure you get a 2 or a 3 as opposed to a 4.
All right, well, we've really worked on hole 4 a little bit, actually. There are some obvious lines, and then the community has really helped us come up with a bunch of other options. So let's explore a few of those. We've got kind of a rainbow arc that, if you pace it just right, will get you right to the back of our mother goose. But there's also the straightforward shot right up to the top. That one, I've started to take more of a liking to that. It's a little bit easier to find the pace. You don't have to perfectly massage the arc of the curve. But if you hit it too hard, it can give you some trouble like this. It can put you behind this this spot back here. And actually, while I'm here, it's not a bad way to demonstrate that this can work for you. Oops. Yeah, there's some recoveries available on the back side of this too. But the newest shot that we've been working on is actually a double bank, including both the side and the top, like this. And I think that has become my most consistent approach to the ace on this hole.
Yeah, I like this because you seem to have a lot of fluctuation of pace. to be successful. I missed it there. But even that miss is going to give me a roll out to that side.
That came back at you. That was unlikely. Even if you overhit it like I just did.
So if you're watching this, like, yeah, come in and spend some time trying all of those shots, because you might find that one is just more suited to your skills, your comfort, and the one that you feel comfortable taking is obviously the one you should take.
Anything that we missed on that one, Fugo? I think this one has a lot
I
of
agree.
options
I'm really comfortable right now with the pace of just the one bank curl. That is pretty popular, but I do
Yeah.
like, can I see
Yeah,
the
wait.
stronger pace double bank one more time? Let's look at that from this angle. I do like where that hits. It looks very forgiving. It's very pace forgiving.
I was super skeptical on it because, hey, double bank, that's more complicated than a single bank, but it has proven to be very reliable in just,
Where's the
24 hours of
aim
working on it.
point on the original bank? Is it here?
I would say
Just
halfway,
harder?
for me, halfway between this chip mark and the end of the wall.
Okay.
Of
All
course,
right.
if you're only doing the single bank, you can negotiate it with any length here, but you have to adjust your pace because the curve has to be pretty specific. The higher you hit it for a single bank, the harder and larger the curve has to be to
Yes.
find its way.
All right.
All right, three little pigs.
This is a fun
Yeah.
little hole.
I think there is a convenient mark, I guess, is worth noting on this. I actually do, as kind of a geographic marker like this dot pretty close to the pin location or the tee location. And I like hitting the ball when this pig is looking right at my ball here. So give it a nice generous whack over that, and it'll find its way over there. It's pretty straightforward. There
Now,
are some
I've seen
other
some
options.
people, I've seen some people come over here, whether they come off of the door of the house of sticks, I guess, the hay house, or you can try to slide it past over here. I just think that introduces more risk than you need to.
You can't be too shy when you're hitting that one. Well, and I'm missing it. Anyway,
So, it's not as
can't in
it's
good
not as
conscience
good of an
endorse that
opportunity.
one.
No, right. I agree. I think this shot over here that you showed, Lean, is the safest shot, and it's pretty forgiving from a pace perspective too. That's a lighter pace, which may actually give you a chance at the ace.
Was
Just
close.
missed it. This one's not been aced ever, right? Now it's only been played one time in the weekly, but it's not one that you expect to get an ace. A 2 here is
You need
pretty,
a little bit of
pretty good.
an assist from the wind to get the proper pace.
I see shots that are pushed end up hitting the face of the wind here a lot.
Yeah.
Kicking the ball out
Now,
here, which kind of leaves a bank line open for a possible
Exactly. We were
recovery.
talking about this earlier because this bank surface is a little bit different, right? It's got this paint type, and it gives you not the normal wood sound, but more of a thud sound.
It's kind
So
of a
this is a common
rubberized
place
wood.
to be, and it is worth just kind of getting used to what that pace and what that bank kind of feels like.
Yeah, this is a common place for the ball to end up if you've missed your shot. It's nice to get a little bit of practice trying to find this angle here.
And if I'm a player looking for a pace on that, I'm usually looking at where my ball is hitting, so I'll use a visual such as this cutout to kind of gauge it, and then I'll pace myself and practice pace shots until I get it right around the shot of getting it within a cup or so of the hole. And try to
That's a great
remember that.
idea.
All right, now we've got the spinning sheep. And this is one that the more I think we've played this, the more we sort of expect this to be one that you should ace. and there's a lot of different places on the circle that work, and your pace is going to determine how that ball banks off of it. I think it makes sense to find your spot. And for me, just like Lean did there, it's the edge of that chip.
Can you
It's kinda
talk
what I'm
about
aiming
the
for.
rotation of the sheep for just a moment? Because the timing of my animation doesn't match yours. So
Yeah,
the video won't
good
show
call out.
proper sheep placement
Okay, good point.
Yeah,
as to when
it-
to hit this shot. And it is a timing shot as well as a line shot.
you want to hit it right before the sheep enters the area where your ball is. So you're waiting for the sheep that passes in front of you to clear, and then the next sheep to get there, which probably is fairly obvious, but this is a moving mechanism that messes with your shot setup, with your stroke, because you're thinking about that.
Yeah, you want the sheep to chase your ball around the circle.
Yeah.
So
That's
each of these line segments right here represent entirely different lines that you could take with, and there's probably a spectrum of angles and paces that will work for each of these. The reason why we've chosen this one is because it's relatively easy to avoid the sheep in the timing aspect of the hole, and you also get a relatively severe angle from the tee, and the more of severe angle on any wall that you have, the more predictable the deflection off that wall. If you deflect off a more shallow angle, the pace will determine the angle of incidence. It has more determination in the resulting angle of incidence. So you typically, when you are planning bank shots, you want to go as perpendicular to the wall as possible to make that.
I
the angle
believe
that it
this
comes off
hole
of.
really represents the idea of muscle memory in a shot to me, because practicing this makes you more proficient, and you get to start to trust the sheep and where you're going to hit it. And then once you get that, try to remember that. Try to
Yeah.
really ingrain that pace and line into your mind, and you'll be far more successful, in my opinion. I think this is
Which
a
is
great
another
hole that
reason why
epitomizes that.
identify your spot and stick to it, same shot every time.
Mhm.
Some people I've seen will try to play it in and let this spinning sheep wheel move you towards the hole. You've got less control on that one, so the bank shot is going to be the preferred method if you're really trying to get an ace on this one.
Agreed. I would argue that if you are a horrible pace player and that you are not good with moving objects, which some people aren't, I think floating the ball dead weight to the middle is a decent option to get a 2 on this hole.
Yeah, if you're struggling to get, I think that's fair. Okay, the one-eyed Cyclops.
Pick a chiclet.
Yeah, pick it and stick with it. If you
Mhm.
second guess yourself or you rush yourself, you're more likely to make a mistake. Just don't be embarrassed about it. Everyone should take their time when they're playing. And I think this is a psychological challenge more than anything else. I think something like 80% of players aced it, and that 1 in 5 player probably rushed it a little bit.
I would agree. I think this epitomizes patience as much as the last hole epitomizes repetition and practice. So. Pick a chiclet. I like the one on the right. I like the one on the right because it's a fairly straightforward shot that allows you to bank it in. I don't like the one on the left here because it curves outward, and if it curves outward, it's not a really true bank. So if you come up short, you're going to cut it too hard, and it won't go in. So.
Yeah, I started with the middle tooth, and I have migrated to the right. So I think that makes sense. Hansel and Gretel.
Hit it and hope.
Yeah. This was the last hole designed for the course, so the usual amount of care that's put into design was abandoned for kind of a shortcut design here, and that means that some of the nuance in options, I would say, is kind of removed. I think you want to hit this hard twice and get yourself a 3 if possible. But I'd say we at least have 2 lines off of the tee that are most likely to get you a very slim chance at going all the way around the long way. Actually, and first, we can talk about going backwards towards the swans. Of course, there are a couple ways to do it, but they are so inconsistent that in a stroke play tournament, I think it's not really worth exploring. Okay, so the first line, and Sticky, you're welcome to take wax at this while I'm kind of done looking at the lines here. I'd say the first option is one that will just get you across this this first surface here, aiming towards this angle in the back, or sorry, this one right here. This will help to wrap your ball around, but there's an invisible ceiling protecting your ball from going above this channel, and that's why you don't have to be shy about whacking it as hard as you can. Now, the downside about the invisible wall is it absorbs a lot of the ball's energy, so the more that your ball actually that surface, the less energy is reflected back into the ball, and you can lose a lot of energy quickly.
A tip that might be good is to have your friend come down here and just stand here so that you can fire a ball really fast at their face.
I think one of the things
Let's see
about
how that
being
works.
successful and getting a good roll on this is not to hit the invisible OB barrier protection. I think that is the goal. So I think actually hitting this ramp is not the best idea, this incline here. I think cutting it as far over without touching that as you can and still hitting this angle is optimal in just my opinion. Like right here by the root.
Let's see what we get.
You can't miss all of them, however, I don't credit
As much as
Autodidactic with a
possible.
new line on this hole right here, and that is
Ooh,
actually towards
nice.
this orange light. Let's give it a few whacks,
Fantastic.
Sticky, and see if we can get a ball to wrap all the way around. I haven't even tried it yet, but here I'll feed to the line right here.
Is it still max pace?
Yeah.
I do like it.
Who's to say? My biggest tip on this hole is that once you end up here, don't be shy. Go ahead and just you don't have to go crazy, but do not hit your second shot soft. Do not finesse it to the pin from where you are.
I agree. I think it's fairly safe. I think you can overhit it. It can go out of bounds, and it can do some stupid stuff like sit right here by this rock. It can go out of bounds, and it can go out of bounds up here by the wing of this swan, but it's unlikely.
That's all I got for the swans.
Yeah, there's not a ton on this one other than just your point is don't leave it short on your second shot.
If you can get a 2 or far be it a 1 on this hole, you've performed miracles.
I've seen it get around like just a handful of times,
Yeah.
and that's from some of the best players.
Not much needs to be said about hole 9. I think if you want to make a mistake, you want to make it short. Just try and crest that hill, give yourself a putt, and move on with your life.
You're not going to make it.
The ace is super uncommon and requires some kind of unusual bounce that
Luck.
Can potentially happen. But
commonly referred to as luck. All right.
Now hole 10 does offer a nice, interesting, counterintuitive effort. You want to hit the ball pretty soft, and you can get nice rolls like that. What do you think, Sticky? I know. I think. Sorry, and I asked you and then interrupt you. The way I locate my shot is actually against this surface, where the green meets the surface of the ramp. So find that location for yourself, which is going to be approximately the left side of this chip. Practice it a few times to get the pace. I think this prominent smudge on the green represents about the distance you want to try and land it. And let the ball roll up this ramp instead of bounce into it.
It seems to me if the ball hits this incline on a bounce, it's going to roll backwards and not forwards, generally speaking.
Correct. you landing it on the front part of this circle, like this dot right here, which is pretty prominent. That's your landing zone. And if you can hit the right landing zone, it increases your chances significantly. You can even sneak it in if you're a little off center, right? Because this will funnel it in, and at the right pace, you're still okay. Excellent demonstration.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to overhit also, in my opinion, just because if you do hit this slope, it can have a tendency to come off of the angle of the hole. And getting it in here can be a little more challenging than you think at certain angles. This is sort of like your angle cut off here and your angle cut off here, like an X. And so anything over here or way over here shot off by a hard shot is going to be a more difficult leave for you to get your two.
I was playing around earlier today with one of the best players in the world. He will remain nameless, but he shot a 31 under on the round, but he got stuck over here and took a 3 on this hole. And that's the difference between a 31 and a 33.
Boy, I don't know if I got one pop glitch that sent the ball way up high and it didn't go anywhere near the hole. But anyway.
Yep, it can be pop glitchy like hole number 3, in my opinion. This hole can too.
Okay.
Yeah, boy, we sure worked on this one for a while. I mean, there's always the straightforward shot, but then, as I just kind of accidentally demonstrated, there's a 3-bank route to the top.
And I like the 3-bank route, which what I'm aiming for is where this slope, this little angle comes up here. And if you can hit there with good pace, it is pretty consistent to go up. I know a lot of people like to go straight. A lot of people like to do that bank.
Anywhere on this angle, guys, or is there a specific spot on it that you're looking?
I think kind of anywhere on that is good, because effectively what happens is this angle catches it and it shoots it right up to here, and then right up to here, and then right up to here.
And so it looks really like either side would work.
I would assume so, right?
Like if you're a lefty player. Although there is some shadow to deal with, so you may choose to work the non-shadow.
There's the other side.
But this is a super frustrating one because, it can come right back at you, and this will be a coconut killer for some people for sure.
If you hit this surface or this one, yeah.
I have seen this hole eat some really good players up.
Okay, so now let's talk about let's talk about what to do if you're unsuccessful off the tee.
And this is another frustrating one because the rollout from these pipes is not consistent. So
it can be left, right, long, short.
Yeah, and this is more of that kind of almost rubberized wood. So it's not quite as consistent as wood as I'm kind of demonstrating. Of course, I'm not even going to hit one now.
And then if you get over here on this side, there's a few different approaches that make sense. Weirdly, I'm a little bit of a psychopath, and I like to be able to see the hole. So it's worth maybe trying. I didn't hit that very good.
I personally turn around and hit it left-handed.
Yeah, and I don't blame people for doing this either, right? So, but make sure you do spend just enough time. What's the way to get over there? You'd love to make it, but really once you get there, get yourself a 3 if you're on this far side.
I do like the advice of keeping your eye on the hole, whatever you do on this one, on that shot. And
it does help with the intuition.
All right, let's go up to Jack and Jill. And this one, can be an easy ace or it can be a headache for you.
It's strange because the ace always feels pretty good and natural and easy, but it's a little trickier than it.
Sticky's way better at this one than I am, I have to say that. I do like this side a little bit more. Starting out on the right.
So the three approaches I've seen in terms of ace lines have been what Lean was trying to do going up the far side. But you can bank it against either the end of this pink little wall, the base here, or you can bank it up here on the white. And I've had both work fairly consistently. The pace is a little bit less than I think you might think it is. And you want to err on the side of less pace if you're going to make a mistake. And that's too hard right there.
But
Great
you're
shot
up
on
on
the
the
hard
top,
course.
and that's a pretty
And
easy
Hugo, while
tip.
we're up here,
There it is.
if you
There's
can
the
get
make.
the ball anywhere on this slope down, it will funnel in. So from here, all I have to do is just a little tap. Actually, let's do this just to sort of
That's
demonstrate.
That's a good demo.
Oh, it almost went in.
Maybe not that far right, but anything not just burning the rail will go in.
Yeah. So let's nail this ace line down here first, just so that we
Yeah,
can.
Just
I'll tell
watch
you, my
Lean.
right here, I actually found a fair amount of success finally there, Sticky. See how that gives a nice curve up the side, and it doesn't bring this left side wall into play as much.
Now, a common place you'll end up is on this middle platform. And if you're on this middle platform, I think going to the left is a lot safer than going to the right. This angled slope here will really kind of push you around and can wrap you all the way around and miss the well. And as Lean showed right there, you just hit it straight up through it. As long as you get enough distance up the hill, it'll be pretty automatic.
Yeah, don't be shy about the distance. You can bring it all the way up like this, and the hill will guide it right in.
I see a lot of
I
leads
see-
up against this right rail. Can you talk about the bank on the left that should be performed in that scenario? I think you do need to bank it from here.
Yeah, from here, this is not a place I like to be. It's a delicate bank at that point because it will pop off this wall. So,
or you can go
That's a
right
pace.
side, but more gentle.
I think generally speaking, think less up the hill than more is a great kind of idea on this hole to keep your pace correct.
I think there's no substitute other than just coming in and dropping your ball up here and figuring it out. Because
If you're
you've got
stuck this, yeah,
I agree.
sorry.
Good,
If
man.
you're stuck this far up and the bank isn't available to you, then you really do have to finesse it up this side. Just stay close to the wall. Just draw it right close to the wall and let the wall bring it in, the slope bring it in.
Thinking to put it just past this edge of the half well here.
You got it.
All right, the 3 blind mice. Man, how many different aim points do you have on this one, Lean?
Yeah, there are a few, and I think it will be a matter of picking your favorite. I think some people like to start out on the right side and use something like this, the smudge on this side to guide you. And what that intends to do is help you find the corner of this first side of the wall. But then some others swear by going towards this broken fence location on the left side and doing a first bank over there. Let's demonstrate a few attempts. Of course, that one came right back at me. Let's say don't be too shy.
This is definitely, in my opinion, a risk-reward hole. That it can pop out, especially if you try to crush it.
Yeah, you try the right side, I'll try the left side.
I don't know if that.
However, yeah, those aren't bad.
I have
But
been told that going along the right side rail and banking it off the right side is safer for the pop out than the left side, slightly.
that may be true. I think I don't know if I'd call it a consensus, but I think aiming right at the 3 blind mice, if you can start the ball into the curve right where it starts with a generous pace, it'll often get you around without too much trouble. So there's kind of a middle approach to this hole as well.
I mean, at the end of the day, I have tried a lot of different aim points on this hole, and I think that I settle on one that is more effective to get me over there, and then I start to have trouble with it. So practice something that you can have some success with, but don't overhit it, because going out of bounds is going to be where you're going to definitely lose more strokes. Worst case scenario, you want to get a 3 on this.
Can I get a few words about the alternate approach to this hole and trying to get the 2 off the bridge? The layup over the bridge.
Good question, yeah. Well, let's try it as we talk
Or
about
sometimes
it,
you just get in this position too and have an opportunity for a 2 off your tee shot that you may want to explore.
It's a little bit of a lighter shot up to the wood than I initially thought it was. I know both channels work, but there's
It's
a lot of things
volatile.
that can go wrong, as you just saw there, right? So my general belief is don't mess with the wood planks. Now, if you get some bad luck and the ball is right in front, it'd be tempting for sure.
That'll go in.
Yeah, so that was like 1 in 10 tries or so that I was able to
Yeah, it's
use the
difficult.
That will
go
work.
in. A little more successful on the right side, in my opinion, than the left crack. Only because it'll grab the right side crevice because it's deeper slightly. A little easier.
And yeah, I want to lock the ball in early. Okay, actually, I really haven't played with this too much, but what it seems like is that this left plank of wood will channel the ball in, that the center plank doesn't do you many favors.
No.
And I imagine the right side plank kind
Nice.
of channels you into the right side channel. Yeah.
It's an interesting thought. Some people may even lay up to this point. If you can get it down, go for it. It's an option. It's an interesting option on this hole.
Yeah, I think.
And then you really avoid going out of bounds on the tee shot.
But there is a chance of going out of bounds on this bridge shot or not executing it properly.
Yeah, it is not as easy shot to get it up and onto the wood.
Perfect example. Thank you, Lane. That was great. So work on that. Find your place. Find your pace. Good luck for the 2.
Yeah.
This next hole is very unique, I believe.
It is. There's a complexity to it that approaches chaos. So I would say try and you can go for the bold 2 if you really want to go for it, but you'll by percentages probably save yourself some strokes by attempting to get yourself a safe 3.
Because
the bold
the
2
2 line
hits
is
on the
effectively
fly.
flying it. Yeah, you're flying it over into this wall,
And you can
you've
see
got
there's
this gap
all kinds
here.
of stuff.
You've got a hole here. You've got a gap here. It's a very narrow pace window to hit that right. The reward is a good line for a 2, but the penalty is you're back on the tee and you've lost a stroke.
Oh,
My favorite
close.
approach is to try and get against this wall here and just practice this angle, because this angle, it's not that you're going to get it every time, but you can be fairly consistent with your tries.
I think it's somewhere right near the dot past the shadow. I know that's hard to see right here, but it's somewhere right here, and you can get consistent with
Depending.
it. I've been doing the same,
Yeah.
trying to leave it dead weight to the wall as much as possible. The
I have
bank's
to agree
possible.
with you. That's been my approach too. Well, I'm not getting it right now, though.
He's not getting it, but notice he's never more than a cup away. So there's a 2 to be had. I think percentage-wise, a lot more 2s would come from that approach than trying to go dead weight to the wall.
Fugo, I'm going to try the harder shot right now. So if you want to
Okay.
stay up there and just
Yep.
watch how this comes in,
Perfect.
you can get a sense.
Perfect.
I've got a great angle.
I'll say a couple other things because
And
the
he got
pop
it.
glitch is
And-
also.
and you got it.
And that's a best case scenario, but let's do it again and see how it can go horribly wrong, which we assume will happen.
Okay, I got a pop glitch there as well. That's a.
Yep.
I flew that one too hard.
The pop glitch is definitely in play, and just a regular glitch as well, where you have a frame rate glitch. It happens on this hole. It has to be discussed at least a little bit.
And these walls up here in this green area are a little bit different. You've got what feels like some sort of concrete or cement here, and then a wood and a panel here. So you're going to get different bounces on that. I don't think it's a terrible idea to come up and again practice some of the banks from some weird spots, because the visuals are also a little bit different.
I would
That's a really
add,
nice
Sticky,
grading.
that coming off this concrete is a little more unpredictable than the wood. The concrete has a tendency to lose angle. You perceive that it will hit with more angle than it does, and it kind of comes right back at you. It kind of breaks to
It's
the
very
left.
springy.
more
And the
than you
wood
think.
kind of deadens the ball, and the concrete kind of gives it a little
Sharpens
extra
it.
juice.
Yeah. Nice lean. Get in. Oh.
And if that's a way out of the most awkward position that your ball can lie in, you need a triple bank to get out of that one.
But I think most people are looking at threes on this hole, and a 3 is nothing to be upset about.
Threes get degrees.
One final note off the tee, however, because this is a shoot, you can essentially whack it and get over there, but you want to pay attention to how your ball leaves, first encounters the wall. If you do have a pop glitch, basically anytime that your ball goes from a flat to a curved surface, the ball can once in a while accidentally hop higher than it should. And so if you whack it hard, your ball can just straight up clear this and go, straight towards the
Broken Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel there, exactly. Thank you. So in order also to give your ball the greatest chance to hop and then come back down and stay in bounds, I would recommend the straightest shot before hitting a wall as possible. Basically getting as much green time as possible before hitting a wall. Give yourself a little bit of room, because if you accidentally hit the right side of the wall first, it will take a lot of energy off the ball and can even leave you too short. You might actually hit this piece of wood and go out of bounds. So practice kind of hitting it just slightly to the right with a pace that is unlikely to pop out of bounds. And like Fugo was saying, try to pace it up against this distant wall if you can, and then practice a single bank shot under this bridge here, and sometimes you'll pick up a 2.
I think it's important to note that you must hit a pace that avoids basically hitting these boards too much. Anything past halfway of coming out of the chute will drip off to the edges and fall off the edges and not make it to this putting surface. So you have to at least hit it that hard, or it's going to end up falling off the side or coming down to this waist area or stop area halfway down the track. The recovery shot for this is similar. Try to keep it along as right along the edge without hitting anything as you can to create some angle to come towards the hole.
All right.
Well said.
I think we should move on to the fun house.
Fun house.
In scare quotes. Fun.
Fun house. TV Funhouse.
Well, we've got an innovation for you, I believe, on this hole.
Alright.
This is something Sticky showed me yesterday. So I actually now consider this this hole that looks like the most obvious thing to do to be considered kind of bait. I think Sticky, why don't you show him a safer approach that gets you an
Mhm.
approximately equal location?
Yeah, so what you're trying to do is basically bank off of that, column-looking thing there, which with a just moderate pace, and you're going to aim for the top end, right where lean is,
And down to the corner you'll go.
and this puts you somewhere in this corner, right? That's like the best case outcome where you've got a straight shot in there, but a lot of times you'll end up even back here. And that's a little further back. You don't want
I'll
to be
demonstrate
there, but
with a couple more bounces.
yeah, let's see where we end up here. So like that is a great spot to be from where lean is. And even if you get this rollback, like lean's got a real easy shot in to the hole. I think it's really difficult to mess this shot up. And when you're looking at a hole where even if you go through this little tunnel and you end up in this landing area, or sometimes you end up over here, the likelihood of getting a 2 is slim. And even from this spot, I think you've got just as good of a chance to get the 2.
And I see you're doing a double bank off the rail, Sticky. I've been implementing that on this hole as well from that line. I love this strategy that you guys are talking about. Going through this hole is fun, but it's not required to get a good leave, and it incorporates risk of this hole that you don't want, because a miss of trying to going into this little shortcut route is a ball short of your objected line to get through on the next shot, which leaves.
So here's what happens when you miss,
very difficult
right?
shot.
And now I'm
You
in a
have to
terrible
bank.
spot.
There is a bank that can happen here,
And it's narrow,
and it's
very
narrow, and it's
And
high risk.
counterintuitive. And it's way higher than it looks like it should be. You get major distortion in the perception of that shot.
If you do look at this rail and you are attempting that bank recovery, notice that this rail comes forward. There is a corner on this rail that is not parallel. So when you bank, you've got to bank before that turn.
That is a great observation, and I have not ever noticed that.
And you have to hit it right where it bends. That is your aim point. Cut through here and give you a line. But if you hit the safe tee shot on the tee shot right here around this column, it'll put you in this back corner, and you effectively have the same shot if you went through the shortcut hole. I think you almost have about the same chances of making a 2. Similar.
I don't think there's anything else really to say about the fun house. It's,
I mean,
Not as fun as it could be.
That's fair.
There are some Hail Mary plays you can make to try and go to the green directly, but it's pretty rare success rate.
Fun house. Where am I?
Okay, Rapunzel.
All right, Rapunzel, let your hair down. I think there's
Or you
2
could keep it
approaches
up.
here, right, Lane?
It's up to you.
Trying to get in a good spot. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you can always play the mega safe route, which is still not perfectly safe. Go around the hair on the outside and hope that you don't hit a pillar or land up short or end up in an awkward place where you've got one of these
pretty ideal.
seams. Yeah, this one is nice, and it's not hard to judge. If you do decide to play this safe shot around the outside, I'd recommend going behind your ball and just visualizing what it would take for your ball to make it to the hole. And don't overestimate the amount that the hole is going to deviate the ball on its line. And then pick a couple dots to so that when you change to a perpendicular perspective, you can look through those dots and try and find your location that way. and it's also a softer shot than it looks too. So that's one way to get the two there.
This slope
Fairly
is going to be a little bit angled depending on where you are to the hole. So it will move your ball one way or the other, which is part of why what Lean is talking about, getting down there, finding your spot, looking at what that slope may or may not be, will give you a much better chance of making it.
Practice a few of these on the hill. Drop a ball.
Amen.
Practice a few of these. You really can't
All right,
get
show
a
us
feel of what
the
it'll do.
superior line. Sticky.
And then there's the stairwell shot, which can be very volatile. Hitting it just generally.
Before you show
Yeah.
the sticky and
Go ahead.
lean, can you guys talk about risk reward a little bit on this hole and what your chances of executing versus not executing? I think this hole has been the biggest coconut killer I've seen on this course while practicing this week with others. And it's a little bit more volatile than it looks, I think.
Yeah, I've seen some people just go with an approach of just hitting it into the stairwell and hoping. And I don't know what the percentages of landing in the putting surface down below are from that. Maybe 50-50, maybe a little bit better than 50-50. But there are ways that you can give yourself a much better chance of landing on the green down below. And what Lean is doing right here is just the chaos of the steps.
And he got rewarded with chaos this time.
Exactly, right. The approach that I've seen more and more people try with this is to roll the ball very slowly right through this gap right here. So you're going just to the side of this post, and you want to do it with a pace that is just light enough. And, Lean didn't get it there, but he's still got a chance for success, right?
Miss that post, yeah. Here, maybe
you
this
don't want
is
to hit
better.
the post.
Maybe not, maybe not.
That's
and you notice they're
right?
going right of the post, and it's giving them a chance at a hole-in-one off the back rail. It can click off the back rail and shoot back towards the hole. It's rare, but it happens. I'm seeing some people attempt the left of the post or the right of the post. I'm sorry. They're going left of the post. Oh, there it was.
That was very fortunate because that one hit the side rail and then just kicked right at the hole.
That's it. That's how you make it. That was a wonderful example. There is a right of the post line, though.
Let's try it.
There is one that dunks right of the post, but it's super
I think
difficult.
what I have determined is that's very narrow. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do it. It's too volatile. But if you can get it without touching it.
Oh, so close. So you have to decide, can you hit that shot at a slow enough pace and get it right between this post and here to get it to be a kind of almost guaranteed shot at a 2? Do you want to gamble and hit it down the steps and see where it ends up? Or are you better off taking the guaranteed 3, going around the long way, trying to make that longer putt up the ramp?
I have heard a lot of elite players saying that if they are sitting at 24 or 25 under at this hole, that they will not be attempting the drop shot, that they'll just attempt trying to get the 2 down here. Something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of golf left.
Yeah,
I wouldn't make any. I wouldn't change your decisions on the easy course. So.
6 pence pop.
What a fun hole. This is a pretty unique hole.
Yeah, the pop glitch is possible, but it is unlikely to actually affect your result. What actually is there to say on this hole?
Sorry, I'm trying to
for
the
right-handed among us, there's kind of two bold dots that make for a pretty convenient location, and when this raven is open, you know that your target is as well. Just hit this one with some nice confidence and get yourself in the mouth there.
Yeah, I have found that just erring on the side of the left dot is a lot more effective for me as I miss it. I used to go right through the middle and would miss it a lot more, but that left dot has been Well, that's the miss again.
I
A
would
little
say
bit
just
more
hit,
for me.
just don't be shy. You want the slower you hit this, the more that hill is going to deviate your ball there. And if you are a lefty, even going right over that, right over the bold dot there will get your ball approximately where it needs to go. So pace matters more than it seems.
This is a lot similar to me as the pinwheel with the sheep. I think it's hole number 6. It's similar in that a lot of repetition and a little bit of practice goes a long way of making sure this is a 1 for you.
If you do miss it and you roll down the hill, you've got the decision of, do you try to make it across to 1, or do you lay up and take your medicine and get your easy par. You could make the case that if you really struggle with this one and you just want to get a 2, that you could lay up into the middle and do the exact same approach from the tee.
I don't think you want to
Talk
tempt
about
the slope
swallowing.
that much.
Talk about swallowing your pride, though. That is a tough part to do.
I don't know anyone who hasn't gone for this. I haven't seen the layup method, but it is possible.
Let me check the numbers on the weekly. How many people took a 3 or more on this one?
Oh, I think I did. I think I
I mean,
messed it up.
it is very, very possible to miss it. And
It is.
if you're one of those people that find yourself missing it time and time again, I don't think it's a dumb play to lay up and take a 2.
I think it's
looks
more
like
of a pace
between-
shot than a line shot. In my opinion, I think the pace needs to be consistent in your practice, because if you start messing with your pace and getting rushed or trying to execute this post haste during your tournament round, that's when you may miss it. I think that's what happened to me, is I tried to force feed it down in his throat, and I just found like a smooth, nice, steady pace with the line that you find that's comfortable for you while you're practicing will do you a lot of good on this. Don't hit it once and think, oh, I got it. I think taking a few minutes is good on this.
I checked the numbers, and 7% of players took a 3, 1% took a 4, 2 took a 5, and someone even took a 6.
What was the hole-in-one percentage? Over 50?
56.
Yeah, I would have said just over 50. That's not a bad guess. I think you make it about half the time. Yeah, the field.
Well, that brings us to the 18th hole, which is a lot of hole for not a lot of options.
A person of my generation immediately thinks DuckTales for some reason. I'm
Yeah.
looking for Scrooge
Yeah.
right here. Where's he at? And
Yeah, I would say in general, there's these gold coins will not affect your ball. They do not have collision. So you can ignore them, but they do provide some visual aid when you're locating the spot off of the gold mound that you want to hit. And there's this nice location. Yeah, with this, there's a gold coin here that offers kind of a spot that is pretty consistent and just kind of crest over, bounce onto the red part of the
Backhanded.
fairway,
that's a pretty great
and
example.
see if that ball will roll its way.
Can you
towards
hit
the
that
hole
again,
for you.
Lee? Replay. Notice that he's hitting it with a lot more gentle pace than you might think. You really just need to clear this area. The idea is that it'll land but not have too much velocity to go over this central slope before it trickles towards the hole.
What you want to avoid is this gold hill over here, because if you do hit here, it is most likely to shoot you over into the corner where you're looking at a 3. Now, I have seen
Unless
some
you hit it so
players-
hard that it hits the treasure chest.
Yeah, I have seen where some players will take more of a direct line. I think this is probably a little bit more risky, but it's not crazy, and it's just a little... Oh, there we go. That didn't work out.
Yeah, over the chest and more. You mean directly to the green?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
this.
the one hop.
And that went too hard.
I've seen more aces with this shot, for sure.
I
Not
do hit the
likely to
chest
make
more
that.
than I would like
A
to.
little
right?
dangerous, in my
So
opinion.
I think
Oh.
Lean's approach of just
Lean
landing
about
it over there on the red grass, red
Yeah, don't.
is the way to
Yeah.
go.
conservative, a conservative approach is good. And remember, a leave over here by these coins. The coins do not affect, they're non-collision, but the broom is. You can get snookered by the broom. It can happen.
Yep.
Just
Now,
consider
Fugo,
yourself
if you do
unlucky.
land, let's say you mess it up and you do end up over on this side over here, you can shoot it up and over.
You can. I've seen people even clear it through here, underneath the table. I've seen them shoot it through.
You can also use this treasure chest on the side. That's a nice angle to get yourself around.
Yep. The most common mistake, in my opinion, is overshooting the tee shot slightly, clearing or having too much velocity on your ball to have this, and you end up over here. And there's a couple of ways to approach this. One is to hit here, and another is to kind of bank it off the coins, which do provide a nice deadening bank option, I think.
Good note.
You're really hoping for a 2, you want a 2, you'll take a 3 on this by that approach. Excellent. Once again, we have Lean Into It and Sticky showing us the ways here on Forgotten Fairyland. We hope everyone has a wonderful time trying to practice and get proficient with this course. Remember, Lean and Sticky are 2 elite pros. What they do in their rounds may not represent the average player, and that you should stick to it. One advice I would say is to stick to it and play with others. That's the best practice that I ever get, is playing with others. I learn new lines and shots all the time. Any parting words from you guys before we take off and let everyone practice?
We appreciate you joining us for this, Fugo.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure to have you. I've actually learned some new lines, especially on hole number 3. Some recovery shots there and angles off of those little triangles was very informative and very helpful. Some pace suggestions and dot suggestions were there, although minimal. And I think if you guys watch this tutorial and take it to heart and start implementing it, there's no reason why you couldn't get like a 25 or better on this course and set yourself up nicely for the hard course this week.
Yeah, I'd say if you have the time for it, come in with a game plan and stick to it. You might be tempted by other players and the shots that they choose, but the more that you kind of stick with your pre-planned game, the less you'll be influenced by the emotions as they go up and down throughout the round.
And like Lean said, if you follow your game plan, you may be rewarded with all of the riches in the world. And that, we leave you with happy hitting and a wonderful time. We can't wait to see you this weekend. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks again, Lean and Sticky, for such a wonderful tutorial. We hope to see you again on the program soon.
Cheers.
Sounds great.